د ورسیو خبرونو او چیرونو لپاره BBC واوري.
هر ځای هر غړی BBC لا تاسو سره او تاسو په ژبه.
Coming to you on global high-frequency radio stations, WBCQ and WRMI. Together, those two stations carry this show to more than 70 countries around the world. The show also streams on my website, HalTurnerRadioshow.com. We talk about news and issues of the day on this show. More often than not, news that the mass media just doesn't talk about. If you'd like to call the show to express your opinion about news, the telephone number you can dial, country code 1-201-771-3013. Today is Wednesday, the 14th of June. No more. Must be all those people that we're letting in from other countries that have absolutely nothing in common with the people who populate the United States. People who just want to be here to earn money to send back to their country and have no desire to understand or assimilate America, no understanding of freedom, liberty. They just want to work. They want to send their money outside the country. Oh, am I hateful for saying something like that? Gosh, how terrible of me. Yeah, observing the actual facts is now a terrible thing in the United States. There's a lot of news today, and it's actually good that tonight, Wednesday, I have a 2-hour show. Because I haven't been able to take call-ins for, the first 2 days of the week. Because there was so much news. And then there's going to be a lot to talk about tonight. So let me begin with a story that I ran on my website. And this has to do with the Russia-Ukraine thing and the NATO, which began 2 days ago on Monday and will continue until June 23rd. This morning, 2 United States Air Force B-1B Lancer nuclear bombers were flying in German airspace. One had taken off from RAF Field in the UK and joined another for a flight near, but not into, Ukraine airspace. This came today as, surprise, surprise, actual Russian tactical nuclear bombs are being delivered today into Belarus. Those Russian tactical nuclear weapons were delivered. Some of them were delivered today. More are on their way. And they are now going to be stored in Belarus by Russia. Getting back to the B-1B Lancers, about 2 a.m. Eastern U.S. time today, one of those B-1Bs took off from the United Kingdom to head to Germany. The aircraft started squawking on its transponder over England. Then it went on station over the North Sea, stayed there for a while, and then it later moved to on station over southern Germany, and I reported that it was now on station over northern Germany. However, these nuclear bomber aircraft from the United States Air Force were flying at the precise time that Russian tactical nuclear bombs and missiles began to arrive at the storage and deployment sites in Belarus. At 12:19 Eastern U.S. time this afternoon, both of those B-1B Lancers headed out toward the Black Sea. And as soon as they got out over the water of the Black Sea, both of our B-1B nuclear bombers switched off their transponders. Stealth mode. Now, I have reported on NATO's Air Defender 2023 exercise until I'm almost blue in the face. And you guys are probably sick of hearing about it. So I will limit my remarks tonight to my belief that this is not an exercise at all. This is battle preparation. Because I have told you that I have cause to believe the United States and its NATO vassals intend to enter the Ukraine-Russia conflict on the side of Ukraine, and that would necessarily mean direct conflict with Russia, which necessarily means nuclear World War III. Air Defender 2023 is supposed to be over Germany. Why are we sending two supersonic, stealth-like U.S. bombers over the Black Sea? Why'd they shut their transponders off? Well, maybe we're poking the Russian bear again. Maybe we want to test Russia's ability to track our pretty stealthy but not completely stealthy B-1B Lancer bombers. And incidentally, ladies and gentlemen, these two aircraft dramatically lowered their altitude as they were heading out over the sea. I mean, like, the last reading I got was 2,000 feet. These are planes that can carry more missiles and bombs than B-52s. They're a big aircraft, but they have stealthy capabilities. You know, swept wings. The wings on this can move and sweep back, tuck in. And it's got electronic stealth capabilities that, dampens their electronic emissions. It makes it harder for radar signals to bounce off its fuselage. So why'd they drop down around 2,000 feet when they were going over the Black Sea? Why'd they turn their transponders off? Well, the answer seems obvious. They're poking the bear. They made it very plain that B-1B Lancer nuclear bombers were in Europe for the Air Defender 2020, then dive down just over sea level and turn off their transponders as they head over the Black Sea. So, I don't believe NATO is running this operation, Air Defender 2023, as an exercise. I believe it is a rehearsal. And I believe that the United States and or NATO are going to create an incident that they will then use to justify direct involvement in the Russia-Ukraine military conflict. And I've made my position clear. You guys all know. All right, so our B-1B Lancers do this today while Russian President Vladimir Putin is giving a television interview. And President Putin was asked what his feelings were about the ongoing situation between Russia and Ukraine. And I want to read to you verbatim the translation of what Russian President Vladimir Putin said today. Quote, we were forced to try to end the war that the West started in 2014 by force of arms. And Russia will end this war by force of arms, freeing the entire territory of the former Ukraine from the United States and Ukrainian Nazis. There are no other options. The Ukrainian army of the U.S. and NATO will be defeated no matter what new types of weapons it receives from the West. The more weapons there are, the fewer Ukrainians. And what used to be Ukraine will remain. Direct intervention by NATO's European armies will not change the outcome. But in this case, the fire of war will engulf the whole of Europe. It looks like the U.S. is ready for that too. Unquote. Wow! Oh my gosh! Where to begin with this? President Putin's statement that, quote, we were forced to try to end the war that the West started in 2014 is factually truthful. It was the West that fomented and incited and financed riots that caused the collapse of the Ukrainian government and forced their democratically elected president, Viktor Yanukovych, to flee the country. After the Ukraine government collapsed in 2014, the U.S. and Europe bankrolled candidates for new government who were all favorable to the West and to NATO. And they got in. And almost immediately, Crimea voted to secede and to go back to Russia, because Crimea had been part of Russia for like 300 plus years until 1954, when Nikita Khrushchev gave Crimea to Ukraine. So all those people in Crimea, they just voted to go home. And of course the UN monitored that referendum, and the UN said it was legit. So Crimea left. And then when two states, two provinces, Luhansk and Donetsk, in the east of Ukraine, wanted to secede as well, the new Ukrainian puppet government said, no, you can't leave. You can't even have a vote. And they sent troops. And those troops started attacking the civilians in Luhansk and Donetsk. Those two states, those provinces, those oblasts, formed militias and fought back. And that's when Russia sent little green men, fully kitted out troops, but with no flags, no name tags, no identification on their uniforms. It's quite obvious they were Russian troops. And they helped Luhansk and Donetsk fend off the Ukrainian army. The West sees that the Ukrainians are going to lose badly, so they call a peace meeting in Minsk, Belarus. And President of France, Macron, was there, and the Chancellor of Germany, Angela Merkel, was there. I'm sorry, I got the wrong president of France. My mistake. The president of France at the time was Francois Hollande. I misspoke. So Francois Hollande from France was there. Angela Merkel from Germany was there. Representatives from Luhansk and Donetsk were there. The president, the puppet president of Ukraine was there, and the president of Russia was there. They met for 19 straight hours, and they hammered out the Minsk peace agreement, the Minsk agreements. And everybody signed. And that was supposed to be the peace. Ukraine didn't uphold even one item of what it signed. Not even one. And then last year, Angela Merkel from Germany and Francois Hollande from France admitted publicly to the press that they knew at the time, back in 2014, the whole effort at the Minsk agreement was a ruse. They only signed the agreement to give Ukraine time to build an army to fight Russia. They knew this war that's going on right now was going to start because they were planning it back in 2014, and they actually admitted on TV. They lied to the face of Luhansk, Donetsk, and Russia. I'll be back.
Comes to making plans, you are the best. What about those round trips that you plan in advance, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends for which you make a group chat 3 months before so that nobody...
Which coastal capabilities rely on protection.
La confianza de terminar este inning los mete en Nueva York, pero ya está calentando Jeff Britton.
Il sistema judicial en su contra.
Have been traveling and journeying to the United States for months, for weeks. The trip from Texas to Los Angeles is a very long one, about 43 hours. There are a lot of children. So we needed also to help the children really feel at ease and understand where they were.
All hands on deck. We're run afloat. I heard the
I guess if you're up where fuel prices are, more affordable than California, the idea of filling up 2 tanks like that isn't so bad. But you try to do that down here, you'll be taking a mortgage on your house. I had a Ford F-250 four-wheel drive. I picked it up purely to flip it. Got probably like 22 years ago, and it had dual tanks on it. I ended up driving it for about a month before I flipped it, and I want to make sure everything was working right, because the one tank just always showed, was empty. I'm like, that can't be. And I could never get any gas to go in it, so I finally, filled up the other tank and then, flipped the switch and ran that thing and ran it and just realized, it had a sticking float on it. So dropped the tank and...
KD8OZO, good test.
Something in the crock pot or what? You might got some on the frying pan. 63.
Dios bendiga su buena noche. Así que con el gusto y luego te miro. Y luego te procuro, porque ya se ocupa, se pierde mucho de plano. 73 y...
La frecuencia ni QRM hay por este lado, por el estado de San Francisco de Campeche. Es el comentario por allá, 01 comenta.
copiado, claro que sí. Esa es la situación. Bueno, échale, vamos a ver quién sale más por ese lado a la frecuencia. Hola, ¿qué pasa, señores? ¿Alguien escucha más? La frecuencia 27665-6201. Red Nacional de Comunicaciones, Delegación Campeche. Buenas tardes, atento aquí a la frecuencia para todos. Hola, ¿qué tal, qué tal?
Disipar alguna duda. Adelante, no sé si me escuche, yo tengo la antena un poquito girada a otra parte, ¿eh? Adelante, Gerardo.
Déjame atender una llamada de una víctima acá en el teléfono. Adelante.
Oye, Gerardo, tú pediste también el balón de, creo que era de 4 kilowatts, o cuál balón tienes.
Roberto González Lode está diciendo por la doctora 15. Y don Tirso Martínez, la 956, allá por Corona Califas. Yo sigo haciendo 390 desde la central en Tlacolula. Estamos. Muy buenas tardes, hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Qué tal?
Those are the sweetest nights I've ever seen.
Ha estado un partidazo. Se prepara con el caso de foul por la zona de primera. Sigue en 2-2 el conteo. Espero que puedan tener una...
Daniel की कहो या कि इजाजत हो रही है पांच कसान नाराजी बिल्कुल सही नाराजी de Kandahar नाराजी de काबुल नाराजी de नंगाहर नाराजी de मजार शरीफ नाराजी
The league, however, Shirley Temple reigns supreme. At the sight of her, a million fathers grow misty-eyed, and a million mothers put curling irons to their daughters' hair.
la más adecuada para convivir de forma plena. Cuando nos damos cuenta de que igual no somos capaces de conseguir algo, o sea, ¿cómo tenemos que afrontar eso, José Carlos?
Pues yo diría con una palabra que no gusta y no está muy de moda, pero se llama resignación humana. Hay que resignarse. La resignación no es dar por perdido nada. Resignarse significa que en este momento, ante esta circunstancia, en este lugar, yo no soy capaz de conseguir, por el momento, insisto, el objetivo. Pero conseguir más adelante, puedo abrir otra puerta, se cierra una puerta y se abre una ventana, dicen siempre, ¿no? Entonces el obcecarse, el empeñarse, el estar de una manera obsesiva frente a una idea, a una prueba, a un blog.
Barbara Kingsolver has won the 2023 Women's Prize for Fiction with her 10th novel, Demon Copperhead. It is a modern retelling of Charles Dickens' classic, David Copperfield. Set in Virginia, it tells the story of the struggles and triumphs of a young boy born into poverty as he navigates foster care, labour, exploitation and addiction. Well, Barbara Kingsolver is the first author to win the prize for a second time. Speaking to the BBC from the ceremony, she said she was still rather stunned by the win.
It was a complete shock. I'm still jittery. It feels like being struck twice. The short list, I mean, you didn't ask me, but I'm going to tell you the best part of these 2 days was meeting the 5 other shortlisted writers whose work I adore, becoming friends with them, and just feeling a sort of a peer with such an amazing group of women.
Our entertainment reporter Guy Lambert has more.
The Women's Prize for Fiction honours outstanding, ambitious and original fiction written in English by women from anywhere in the world. Previous winners include Maggie O'Farrell, Lionel Shriver and Naomi Alderman. And at this year's awards ceremony in London, that accolade went to American author Barbara Kingsolver for her reimagining of the Dickensian classic David Copperfield, titled Demon Copperhead. The panel's decision was unanimous. The book, an expose of modern America's opioid crisis, was described as towering, deeply powerful and significant storytelling by an author at the top of her game. Barbara Kingsolver said a visit to Bleak House, the location where Dickens penned the novel David Copperfield, had proved a huge influence.
I was drawn to his study, and I sat at his desk and I felt this anger. I just received this sense that this is exactly what Dickens wrote about, and I just felt that he was telling me, do this, you have to do this.
Kingsolver becomes the first writer to win the prize twice, having first picked up the award in 2012 for her novel The Lacuna.
That was Guy Lambert reporting. Before we go, a reminder of our news. It is that the BBC has heard evidence of acute food shortages and starvation in North Korea, with some people dying in the streets. Head to our website, bbcnews.com, if you want more on that story. But for now, that's it. Thanks for your time.
This is the BBC World Service, where we are expanding our senses.
Sight, smell, taste, hearing, and touch. I'm Ben Garrett, Professor of Evolutionary Biology at the University of East Anglia. I want to find out not only how our senses allow us to understand and explore what's around us, but how we might borrow from nature and harness and develop technologies, and maybe even redefine what it means to see.
Sensitivity to ultraviolet light is much more widespread than one might imagine, coming from a human perspective.
So this is a thermal imaging camera, and it allows us to get the normal video. It also reads their body temperatures.
I get under the skin of some of the new technologies pushing the boundary of the visible world.
Seeing more. Monday at 19:30 GMT.
Welcome to Assignment from the BBC World Service, where I'm investigating the ugly business of sexual assault for sale. The details are both shocking and disturbing. Thousands of secretly filmed videos of assault on women, often on public transport, are for sale online. We expose the men who are profiting from these attacks on women across East Asia. I'm Zhao Yingfeng, and that's in Assignment after the news.
BBC News with Gareth Barlow. People in North Korea have told the BBC that food is so scarce their neighbours have starved to death. Exclusive interviews suggest the situation is the worst it's been since the 1990s. The Greek government has described the death of at least 79 people in a shipwreck as one of the country's biggest migrant tragedies. 3 days of mourning have been declared. A leading expert in artificial intelligence has said claims that the technology could suddenly take over the world are preposterous. Meta's chief AI scientist Yann LeCun said human-level AI was years, if not decades away. Australia's government is to prevent Russia from building a new embassy near Parliament in Canberra. Ministers said the proposed building's location presented a clear security risk. Kosovo says it's stopping vehicles with Serbian registration plates from entering its territory. The move represents a further escalation of tensions between Pristina and Belgrade. Sudanese officials say the governor of West Darfur region has been killed by the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. A grand jury in New York has ordered a man to stand trial for manslaughter for allegedly choking a black homeless man to death on the subway. Racial justice protesters said police had been too slow to arrest Daniel Penny, a white former Marine sergeant. Dissident FARC rebels in Colombia have denied an accusation from the father of 4 children rescued from the jungle last week that they'd threatened his family, causing them to flee their home. India and Pakistan have evacuated more than 100,000 people out of the path of cyclone Piprojoy, which is expected to make landfall later on Thursday. And the number of a popular bus route in Poland, the 666 to the beach resort of hell, is being changed after criticism from religious groups. The Bible identifies the number with the devil. World News from the BBC.
Welcome to the documentary from the BBC World Service. I'm Zhao Yingfeng, and this is Assignment. I've been working on a BBC investigation. I should warn you, it involves matters of a sexual nature, which some listeners may find disturbing. Picture the scene. A man is secretly filming a young woman from behind as she walks down an escalator to a station platform. He follows her onto a crowded train. Seconds later, he abuses her. This is just one of thousands of videos available online of men sexually abusing women in public. It's a horrific business, targeting women, often on public transport, across East Asia. Those behind it are making huge profits. This is the cover, to expose those who are cashing in on this sexual violence. Japanese police inspector Murakami is on the lookout for sexual abusers on the underground network of Japan's 4th largest city, Nagoya.
There's a guy looking for a target. I'd like to follow him to check his behaviour for a bit. It looks like the kind of behaviour of a chikan perpetrator.
Remember that word chikan. You'll hear it a number of times. Translated, it means the act of groping someone, usually on public transport.
Recharge your battery, or to make you feel better about your own masculinity. And if you don't, your health will drop down to a lower tier. Despite your diabetes and hypertension and heart disease and lower back problems, and failing knees and everything. You've got to play the recording over and over.
Yeah, you gotta play stupid recordings once in a while to get your health and your money back up.
Yeah, and also you could play the recording in
response to any perceived attack on your own fragile masculinity. So, it's a stimulus response thing. And you get, a point here, a point there. But it's like ham radio, it's not a very productive use of time.
Contact Satan's grandchild.
There's a case in point there, dry up dry. Dry or fry, your answers, your responses are becoming intermittent.
Well, I'm getting old.
Yeah, why is it that you have your career that interests you, which, by the way, side note, you're much more fortunate than a lot of other people that just work at a job because they have to have money coming in. You actually doing something you like. But why is it you come home after work and you talk to old men on ham radio?
Fucked up inside the radio, or you're about 10 kcs off frequency.
I'm really glad I asked. I'm really glad I asked for that signal report. I'm enriched by that right now. Dan6 Drive Cross, do you have a response?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't have an answer. They're not all old men. There's some, like BAL is my age. Jones, Chris Jones is, like 6-7 years older than me. But yeah, I guess we're probably some of the youngest people out here. I don't know. Maybe I have mental illness.
Well, that's true. BAL, the other Luke, JTU, the Gladstone, you're right. There are a few. But just a thought, another path on. Maybe, if I'm lucky, I can get another unsolicited comment about my audio.
I don't consider myself old.
Yeah, for you go back is not old. Yeah, and God, that audio thing is frustrating. We all know, users of that thing all know what's going on. We're not in a position to change it. Everyone like to say, oh, you're 10 kilocycles off. Like, yeah, you knew that was the problem just by hearing it? Bullshit.
Yeah, and the other night, with what the fuck's his name, trying to tell me that I live here in Long Beach, and I'm illegally putting a antenna, who's like, my signal is the input, because he's such a bang-up, spot-on ham radio operator, he couldn't tell I was on a remote.
Who was that?
That was Dave Bailey, Dale Bailey, whatever the hell his name is, the full of shit guy that was going on and on about my retirement the other day.
Okay, copy.
Exactly. November 0 triple X-ray, heard what I said, and quickly realized, yeah, this isn't worth going into at all. And it wasn't. That's why triple X-ray is one of the sharpest people out here.
Sound like fucking shit. That's illegal fingernail. Yep.
Turn your radio off and go get something to eat then. Fuck. Nobody's telling you have to listen to this. What the hell? I'm not out here to please you. I'm not out here to meet your standards. Shut the fuck up. I'm not even talking to you.
And the guy complaining about your audio, I mean, has he heard his own?
Obviously not, but damn, I'm not talking to this guy. I'm communicating with you. You can understand me. KN6 Dry O Cry can understand me. So, geez.
That's true.
Yeah, geez.
Miguel Ángel, adelante.
Y parece que en el sur hay mucho QSB. Yo no estoy sufriendo de ese cambio tan drástico. Sí cambia, pero no lo noto así como ustedes lo mencionan. Adelante.
Ok. ¿Y con qué radio estás? ¿Era un Yaesu? ¿Cuál Yaesu?
Es el 710, el pequeñito 710.
Ah, ok. Oye, ¿y cómo te ha resultado? ¿Cómo te parece ese equipo?
Me gusta. Lo único que odio, y voy a utilizar esa palabra, es el Spectrum. No sirve para nada. Estoy muy acostumbrado al Flex, que ahí sí puedo hacer mediciones, y no. Aquí con él hacer mediciones precisas.
Sí, ese problema tienen todos, el 101, el FTDX10 y el 710. Todos esperamos que puedan arreglar eso con algún firmware, alguna actualización. A ver, ¿para cuándo? Porque ya esos no son muy buenos en eso. Pues yo ya me acostumbré, pero cuando apenas conecté el equipo, también tenía exactamente el mismo, pues digamos, el mismo punto de vista, no me gusta, está muy rápido y muy complicado ahí para trabajarlo, pero bueno, pues a ver, ojalá que se decidan uno de estos días y arreglen eso con alguna actualización, Muy bien, déjame ver si ahí llegó Gerardo, que iba a tomar una foto. ¿Ya estás por aquí, Gerardo? Sí. Estos son de plástico como de PVC. Qué caray, hombre. Bueno, y el kit de 6 metros no lleva balo. Sí, el que viene con la antena dice Darío que es 4 a 1. Si lo destapas, mándame fotos por dentro, ¿no?
Y cuando pidas el de DX Engineering, ahí cálalo y ya me pasas el modelo para también yo irlo pidiendo y tenerlo de una vez. Y bueno, pues ya al menos vamos aprendiendo unos de otros. Adelante, Darío. Enterado, aquí estamos todavía, sí. La caja del balón, la verdad es que sí está, no es rígida, por ejemplo, de las que se usan para las instalaciones de las cámaras de seguridad, sí son más, el material es más rígido, no. Este plano es más delgado y la verdad es que yo pienso cambiarla pues el próximo año, que se le haga una revisión completa a la torre, ahí aprovechar y decirle que bajen el director y ahí hacer ese cambio, cambiar la caja del balón, la pura caja del balón, y volverlo a sellar otra vez, pero sí, el material así viene. Y la antena, la de 50 MHz, de hecho dice el manual, dice, esta antena está optimizada para una conexión directa a 50 ohms, dice. Yo le pregunté ahí a Juan Pedro si llevaba algún balón o algo y me había comentado que no. Adelante, Juan Pablo. Ok, bueno, porque esa es la duda que tenía Gerardo. Si le ponía un balón o no, entonces si no es necesario. Lo que yo no sabía es de que se iba a necesitar otro bajante, otro cable coaxial. Ahí sí no sabía eso, hombre, pero bueno, pues ahí eso deberían de decirlo cuando compra uno la antena, ¿no? A menos de que no haya puesto atención, pero no recuerdo que haberlo visto escrito o que me lo hayan comentado, no recuerdo, pero bueno, muy bien, pues yo que sí ya no escucho a Memo porque tiene la antena hacia el norte, pero adelante, Miguel Ángel. Oye, tú tienes ahí no sé si que es tu hermano que tiene una cúbica también por allá en Washington. Adelante, Kilo Charlie 7, India Golf Tango, y que sea uno Charlie.
Ok, Juan Pablo, bueno, pues no, yo no tengo hermanos por acá en Washington, a Luis está en Guadalajara, pero él tiene una stepper. Nosotros somos de stepper, Juan Pablo. Nosotros somos de stepper. Nunca he puesto una cúbica. Pues son pocas las experiencias que tengo con él. Y el otro día, hay una convención de DX en Visalia, en California, le dije al representante de Yaesu, ¿por qué no arreglaban, le ponían average al Spectrum? Ya me sacó que era para recibir mejor. Le va, bueno, qué bueno. Con el Spectrum que era para recibir mejor. Bueno, esa fue su respuesta. Adelante, Juan Pablo, yo creo que me estás confundiendo. Kilo Charlie 7, India Golf Tango.
Ok, bueno, lo que pasa es que hay una estación, ya ves que hay una estación que no recuerdo ahorita su indicativo, soy muy malo para eso, que sale en 14173, que lleva ahí la ruedita XC2 Alfa, ¿no? De Washington, y tiene una antena cúbica, me parece, y lo que pasa es que alguien me dijo, dice, creo que él es pariente de Miguel Ángel, por eso es que yo te preguntaba, que también se me hizo raro, pero por eso es que yo te preguntaba, eso por un lado. Y lo otro, ¿qué fue lo que te dijeron o qué dijeron los de Yaesu con respecto al espectro del Yaesu? ¿Cuál fue la respuesta? No te entendí bien, adelante, perdón.
Ok, correcto. Bueno, sí es Miguel, él se llama Miguel Valencia y él se encuentra en Yakima. Kilo 7, Kilo Sierra, algo así. Sí, creo que él usa una cúbica, Y él nada más se llama Miguel. Bueno, mira, el del representante de Yaesu, porque yo quería comprar uno de esos radios, pero lo único que no me gusta es el Spectrum. Yo estoy muy acostumbrado al Spectrum. Y Él dijo, fíjate cómo dijo él, es para recibir mejor. Si tú atenúas el espectro, ya no vas a recibir mejor. Le digo, bueno, pues está bien, le digo, pero acuérdate que no todas las señales que recibe uno son bajitas. La mayoría de las señales con las estaciones que platica uno están arriba del nivel del ruido, ¿no? Pero bueno, así lo dejamos. Adelante, Juan Pablo. Kilo Charlie 7, India, Golf Tango, Seattle.
Pero no sé qué tenga que ver una cosa con la otra. Nivel de recepción, nivel del espectro, son dos cosas independientes, ¿no? La recepción, el nivel lo puedes variar poniendo atenuadores y el espectro, pues eso es independiente también. Obviamente que varía dependiendo la señal, pero la velocidad del espectro no tiene que ver con la señal, más bien es el tiempo. Pero bueno, no sé por qué haya dicho eso, la verdad. Creo que quería entrar Memo por aquí. No sé si eres tú, Memo, el que transmitiste. Adelante.
El indicativo de Miguel de Yakima, la antena cúbica de Miguel de Yakima es la kilo 7 Sierra Kilo.
Ok, oye, ¿por qué tú nunca escuchaste que comentaron que él era como pariente de Miguel Ángel? O yo me estoy confundiendo de Miguel Ángel, yo ya no supe qué onda.
No, te confundiste tú. El hermano de Miguel Ángel de Yakima se llama Uriel. Ellos son hermanos.
Uriel. No, sí, es que yo sé que Uriel tiene una cúbica y me decía que su hermano Miguel Ángel tenía una cúbica, entonces ahí yo fui donde me confundí. Yo pensé que se referían pues bueno, a Miguel Ángel, a la Kilo Charlie 7 India Golf Tango. No, estoy mal, Bueno, ya todo rectificado, Miguel Ángel, adelante.
Oye, Juan Pablo, nada más hay que rectificar el nombre. Él nada más es Miguel a secas, es Miguel a secas. Yo soy Miguel Ángel y él nada más es Miguel. Sí, es que la confusión es de que Miguel en Washington, entonces ya no se sabe. Somos los únicos dos radioaficionados de acá y entonces ahí la confusión. Adelante.
Ok, correcto. Él es Miguel y tú eres Miguel Ángel, y es que los dos están en el mismo estado. Ahí fue la cosa. Que cuando me dijeron eso, te dije, se me hizo raro, porque dije, pues Miguel Ángel, que yo sepa, pues tiene una stepper, pero no sabía que también una cúbica, o tal vez tuvo una cúbica antes, o no sé, pero bueno, ya quedó todo aclarado, muy bien. Perfecto. Oye, ustedes no tienen problemas con los incendios allá de Canadá, ¿verdad?
En años anteriores sí hemos tenido problemas con los incendios de acá de Canadá, lo que es la parte acá de nosotros de Vancouver arriba, de toda aquella parte. Y también los de California, ha estado muy feo, de cuenta. Yo creo que no nos fuimos a acercar a Nueva York, a como estuvo en Nueva York. Pero sí se nos ha puesto muy triste aquí, Y luego se pone muy caliente. Un día estuvo como a 100 grados y luego no había ni viento y el humo ahí estancado. No, bien feo, Bien feo. Yo ahora que salió la noticia, toda aquella zona, yo los comprendía perfectamente porque, híjole, es bien triste. Un clima muy bonito, bueno, está nublado, pero está limpio. La mayoría del tiempo aquí la calidad del aire es muy buena, En comparación de ciudades pues grandes, ¿no? Que como es Seattle y sus alrededores. Bueno, pues allá quedó aclarado los de las antenas, los nombres y todo, Sí, yo nunca he tenido una cúbica, Juan Pablo. Inclusive pues no tengo mucha experiencia con antenas, que quede claro. Ya te digo, pero sí, yo no sé qué tenga que ver la recepción con lo del espectro, pues el espectro lo maquillo y no importa, ¿no? Hay una menor una foto de lo que es la señal, pero pues no sé, así me dijo el técnico. No es el técnico, es el representante más bien. Adelante, Kilo Charlie 7, India Golf Tango.
Ok, correcto. Sí, no, es que eso es independiente una cosa de otra, ¿no? Pero bueno, tal vez él no anda medio confundido. Le dijeron que contestara eso, no sé, pero no le veo mucha lógica, hombre. Muy bien, enterado ahí de los incendios, sí, porque he estado viendo, bueno, hace unos días, de toda la contaminación que llegaba ahí a Nueva York, sobre todo de Quebec, ¿no? Parece yo viví muchísimos años en Quebec, allá estudié y allá acabé mi carrera, allá viví. Y nunca en todo ese tiempo hubo incendios como los que están pasando ahorita. Nunca. Lo que quiere decir que sí, el cambio climático pues está haciendo destrozos y cada vez peor, ¿eh? Aquí lo notamos también en las escalas que hacemos. Solo se nota la diferencia de temperatura de antes y ahora, ¿no? Y la cosa que mientras más calor, más se calienta la superficie del mar y eso crea la evaporación que crean los ciclones y las tormentas y todos los huracanes. Entonces, mientras más alta sea la temperatura de la superficie del mar, más probabilidades hay que empiece a haber más ciclones, más huracanes, o que sean más frecuentes o que sean más fuertes. Ese es el gran problema, ¿no? Entre otros problemas, pero bueno. Le paso el cambio a Darío, a ver si ya creo que tenía una línea baja con Gerardo. Darío, ¿ya andas por aquí o todavía no? Sí, estábamos ahí, me mandó unas imágenes, ya estaba respondiendo ahí por el WhatsApp. Y ahí alcancé a escuchar que estaban platicando sobre la antena de Miguel, Mezquiper. Y ya ahí me perdí, pero aquí estoy ya de regreso, Juan Pablo. Ahí espero que me sigan escuchando bien. Sí, perfecto, 59 más 5, ¿para dónde tienes la antena ahora? Dirigida exactamente ahí con Miguel. Ah, ok, fíjate, pues casi al revés de conmigo, ¿no? Más o menos, sí, al revés, ¿no? ¿La tienes al revés? Sí, es correcto. Por unos grados más, pero sí. ¿Y con qué señal? X1 India, Kilo Noviembre, X1 Charlie. X1 Charlie, X1 India, Kilo November. 9 más 20, Juan Pablo, no ha bajado, ¿eh? No ha bajado tu señal, te sigue escuchando 9 más 20, bastante fuerte y claro. Ok, pues tú estás entre 5.9 más 5, 5.9 más 10. Oye, el otro día me contacté por pura casualidad con Juan Manuel, que es muy raro que lo escuche. Ya es que Juan Manuel también ya armó y está operando la cúbica allá en la zona de Atlanta, ¿no? En Georgia, por ahí, por cerca de Atlanta. Y me decía que su antena es muy direccional. En 173 había unas 5 estaciones. Y en la que más fuerte escuchaba me ponía un 5.9 más 5. Yo estaba en las Islas Bahamas y Juan Manuel estaba también 5.9 más 5. Y entonces le dije, a ver, gira tu antena hacia las Bahamas. Y de 5.9 más 5 se subió a 5.9 más 20. Y cuando la giraba hacia otra dirección bajaba mucho, era muy notorio la diferencia de señal. Me decía que era muy direccional la antena. Entonces, no sé si sea exactamente la misma que tienes tú, o hayan modificado algo, o fue por la distancia, o no sé, Darío, ¿cómo ves, Cuesele? Ah, enterado. Comentario, Juan Pablo. Es la misma antena. Pero lo que yo estuve platicando con Juan Manuel es que ya le había hecho ahí algunas algunas modificaciones, algunas mejoras. Creo que había cambiado el cable, los cables del elemento reflector. Los había cambiado por un cable calibre, se borró, pero aquí lo tengo anotado. Calibre 10 creo. Elemento reflector, y en el director iba a haber un calibre 12. Pero el del elemento, sí, aquí está. Calibre 10 en el reflector, pero era cable desnudo. Y en el director iba a meter 12, pero ese sí iba a ir con su revestimiento. Entonces, pues él me dijo que sí, que la iba a estar mejorando, ¿no? Y ya después, ya cuando terminaran de hacerle todas las mejoras, ya le iba a subir. No sé si sea debido a eso o a qué haya sido esa diferencia. Juan Pablo, adelante.
El 12 está muy pesado.
Ok, bueno, ya llegó por fin Mario, y después de haber mareado a la víctima, hombre. Ok, correcto, pues bueno, no sé, ahí sí no, eso sí no sé, pero eso sí se me hizo llamó mucho la atención que la diferencia de señal era muy notoria. Cuando empezaba a girar la antena, luego bajaba mucho la señal. Y cuando la tenía, él mismo me lo dijo, y bueno, nos lo dijo a todos ahí en la frecuencia, que la antena era muy directiva, muy directiva. Pero bueno, pues a ver ahora que Gerardo termine con la suya, a ver qué resulta. Adelante Mario, noviembre 5, noviembre Lima Radio, Charlie.
XC1 Charlie N5 en el norte.
Charlie.
Buenas. Ya no, fueron 3 víctimas, ya están alineadas para mañana. Nada más me voy a llevar mis 3-4 botes de vaselina, cuéchele.
Pobrecitos Mario, no manches. A ver, creo que te llama Memo, Mario, adelante Memo.
No, te quería hacer un comentario, mira, Juan Manuel tiene la antena al ras de la azotea. La diferencia de que sea direccional o no direccional es la altura. Por eso se queja Juan Manuel de que es direccional. Pero no. La antena debe ir arriba de 30, 40, hasta 50 pies. ¿Enterado, Juan Manuel?
Bueno, se escucha ahí mucho ruido en tu transmisión, pero entendí que es muy direccional porque tiene poca altura, ¿es correcto?
Correcto. Ahí el amigo no la ha querido subir, la va a subir a 60 pies. Cuando la suba, va a trabajar como la de Darío, ¿enterado?
Ok. ¿Y por qué la puso tan bajita? ¿O la va a cambiar de torre?
La puso de necio para armarla y ya entendió que hay que subirla, la va a subir a 60 pies, ¿enterado?
Ok. Bueno, sí, 60, lo ideal sería 20 metros de altura, ¿no? 20 metros exactos sería lo ideal, pienso yo. Ok, perfecto. Bueno, déjame ver si ya llegó Gerardo, XC2 Zulu, adelante Gerardo. Ok, no sé por qué fabrican, por qué manda esos balloons de esa calidad en esas cajas tan corrientes, hombre, pero haber sabido, porque yo le había pedido un balloon más grande de lo normal, creo que la antena venía con un balloon de 2 kilowatts, algo así, y yo todavía pagué un poco más para que me mandara el de 4 kilowatts para que esté sobrado. Entonces, pues nada más fue tirar el dinero a la basura, tú, Gerard.
Ok, bueno, ahí me mandas entonces las fotos por dentro también, Muy bien, oye Darío, ¿no has hecho pruebas, ya no volviste a hacer pruebas en 40 metros con esa antena? Ok, gracias, Gera. No, Juan Pablo. No he vuelto a hacer ahí, en 40 metros pruebas, no. Y ahí, fíjate que, sí, como comenta Gerardo, en la caja del balón, sí, no, el material no es tan bueno, pues. Y a como está cambiando los climas, el sol, todo eso, sí, no le doy mucho tiempo de vida. Yo pienso cambiarlo dentro de un año, que se le haga una revisión a la torre y a las antenas, y ahí pedirle que me bajen el elemento director y aprovechar a cambiar la caja y otra vez volverla a sellar y todo. Pero sí, el material de la caja da ahí algo que desear, Y ahí me hizo una pregunta, Gerardo, de la
emergencies, stress can be dangerous. Only take on those tasks you can handle. Do not take comments personally. Watch out for your own needs, like food, water, rest, and medical attention. Number 2, when safety and survival are concerned, home and family come first. Make a family checklist of what to do and what is needed, like food and water. Message number 3, there will be a WinLink exercise this Saturday, June 17th, and the voice check-ins will be on the K6CHE 449.780 megahertz rear. You will receive your instructions there. And then number 4, field day will be June 24th and 25th. Find a group near you and join them on field day. Not only is it fun, it is good practice for HF traffic during or after a disaster. Does anybody need any readbacks or fills on those messages?
Yes?
Go ahead.
What time does the WinLink exercise start this Saturday?
That is at 10 o'clock.
10 a.m. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. That's it with messages. Back to net control. Was that the right time, Keith, or is it actually 9?
10 o'clock is what I have on my list.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sorry, Tim. Now you got me thinking. I think it is 9 o'clock. From 9 to 10. 9 to 10.
Yes, that's correct. We're usually finished by 10 o'clock. So, caller, it is 9 o'clock, 0900, when we start the WinLink exercise.
Thank you, Tim.
Okay, real good. Thank you, Tim, AG6RS. Thank you for the messages. And boy, it really sucks to get old. Okay, let's see here. Are there any other announcements or messages for the net? Are there any late check-ins of members, Echolink, or visitors? AG6RS, I do have a question for you. How is Bill doing?
I'm not sure. He was in urgent care for quite a while and got transferred to a room, so I haven't heard anything else besides that.
Okay, let's just hope he's doing well and it's nothing serious. Alrighty, this VHF-UHF net meets every Wednesday night at 1900 hours, 7 p.m. local time. Open to all amateurs interested in emergency communications. We invite any interested operator to join the Los Angeles Section Amateur Radio Emergency Service. For more information, please visit our website at arrllax.org for details including a full listing of our repeater and alternate frequencies. Again, that's arrllax.org. This is Keith, KK6, GLN. We will now have the closing roll. I would like to thank all stations that checked in. Please respond with your call sign. Phonetics are not required. Once called, you are excused from the net. Would anyone like to call the closing roll?
RON.
KW6 RON. Go ahead, Ron. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Q, net control. We'll start with KK6 HMP.
KK6 HMP.
Thank you for checking in. AG6RS.
AG6RS 73.
73 to you. K6PNJ.
K6PNJ 73.
73 to you, Phil. And we have KG6ZSV.
KG6ZSV 73.
73 to you. KN6YDX.
KN6YDX 73.
73 to you also. KN6TLE.
KN6TLE 73.
73 to you also. Let's go with KJ6LYS.
KJ6LYS, clear.
Thank you for checking in. Let's go with KT5LA.
KT5LA, good evening.
Thank you, Jay, for checking in. Let's go with Ronnie, KN6WJH.
KN6WJH 73, and have an awesome week.
Thank you, sir. You also have a nice weekend, or rest of the week, I should say. That's the roll as I have it. Did I miss anyone? Nothing heard. Back to net control.
Thank you, Ron. I appreciate that. Nice job. KW6RON, you are now excused from the net. I would like to thank all stations that checked in, including our visitors. I want to also extend our appreciation to K6VGP for the use of the DERN system. This is Keith, KK6GLN for the Los Angeles Aries Southdrick Amateur Radio Emergency Service, closing the net at 19:14 hours and returning the repeater to regular use. This is Keith, KK6GLN. I am clear.
each month, and this is a great venue. It's not crowded. We have lots of room. The food's great, and the ownership there is happy to have us. So that was the first thing I want to mention. I'm going to break for a second. The other thing I wanted to mention was my gratitude to Marvin for his generosity, for supporting the picnic, and for Cecil for his tireless efforts of putting that thing together. I was fortunate enough to win a couple of nice prizes. I got a battery and a solar panel on one, and the other one I got the ICOM 7300. So it was worth the drive. It's a great place. The Irvine Park is really nice, and Josette and I really enjoyed it. So thanks to all who participated. This is Paul, KN6RED, back to net.